wouldn't mind a piece of that. Beautiful, but empty. No poison. Weaving something like that must have been one hell of a job. There's nothing here. Musa's definitely not to blame. Nails? Is Crow planning on building a cottage instead of a tent? But they're covered in some kind of dirt. Oak. And dry as a bone. The water smells of flowers of some kind. Like roses? Hold on. Nails, rosewater, oak bark. They're all used to brew Kiss of Death. But wasn't Chertan poison with Dollmaker potion? Just a broom. No, I doubt that pair of drunks could have killed Chertan even if they wanted to. Ugh, stinks of vomit. Nothing out of the ordinary.
I know very well what you've
He's the camp commander, but it looks like a pauper lives here. I reckon Growzaw's fallen on hard times. At least he hasn't had to sell his armor to buy booze yet. Growzaw doesn't strike me as a keen reader. How could anyone drink all this? Oh, that's valerian, I believe. It helps relieve pain, but it's also used to make Dollmaker potion. Right. I found out all I could. I reckon I'm as ready for the trial as I'll ever be.
My word, you're bristling with confidence. We still have some time, so calm down, or you'll give yourself a fit. In the meantime, I'll go and get everything ready.
Well then, gentlemen. I understood from your letter roughly what happened, and I trust we can settle the matter quickly and quietly. But before we get started, I have to say you've disappointed me, Sir Growzaw. King Sigismund placed his trust in you, but you don't seem to be up to the task.
That's not true. I took a few tattered tents and turned them into a proper military camp. Everything here is as it should be.
Only your soldiers seem to die from time to time, eh?
There are always problems, but as you can see, I can deal with them. We caught Musa of Mali in the act. You just need to pronounce judgment.
Musa is innocent.
Christ, Henry, be quiet.
And who might you be?
That is Henry, sir. One of my best soldiers. He just doesn't know when to keep his mouth shut.
Let him speak, then. I'm sure he has something very important to tell us. Tell me, lad, why is Musa innocent, in your opinion?
Well, that's simple, sir. Musa was with me and Commander Katz at the time when Chertan was stabbed.
That doesn't prove anything.
Do you think I stabbed him? From afar?
Musa of Mali will remain silent until I personally ask him a question.
Katz and the boy were drunk. Musa could easily have disappeared for a while. Nobody would have noticed him in the dark anyway.
I find that hard to believe. But if it wasn't Musa, who did kill Chertan?
Chertan was killed by our corporal, Stephan, known as Crow.
What? Me? Fucking hell, Henry.
Crow? That one with the mustache?
That's right, sir. He's Katz's right-hand man. I bet they're both mixed up in it.
Nobody asked for your opinion, but I am eager to hear yours, lad. And start at the beginning. What happened that night by the powder store, by your reckoning?
Crow crept up on Chertan in the night and tried to kill him. And others would no doubt have ended the same, because Crow is an enemy mercenary.
What bilge? I've known the man for years, sir.
He made it all up. Where's the evidence?
I don't need any proof, I just know. Crow is the murderer.
You just know, do you? How convenient. But unlike you villagers, we lords like to have things de jure. So, the next time you have some foolish conjecture, keep it to yourself. What happened next? You carried Chertan to the infirmary? Isn't that right, Sir Musa?
Yes, sir. There, I gave him wine to drink, and I prepared to stitch his wounds, but he died before I could.
It seems someone poisoned the poor fella.
My guess is Crow coated the dagger with poison. How else could he have poisoned him so quickly?
That's nonsense, isn't it? You think he planned ahead to stab someone half to death and leave the poison to finish the job?
That really does sound peculiar.
Ha! Even if that happened to be true, where would I have got the poison?
You brewed it yourself. I found rosewater, nails, and oak bark in your tent. Stuff used to brew a poison called Kiss of Death. And that's exactly what was used to kill Chertan, sir.
You fucker! I don't have any of those things!
That's enough! I've heard all I need to know. Katz, I hereby convict that corporal of yours for murder.
What?
Sir Growzaw, have a gallows erected.
Leave me alone!
Don't make this harder than it need be. We could have you tortured, too.
You whoresons! Just try and catch me! Fuck you, whoreson!
Ah! God! You should have fucking stayed out of it.
And quietly. But before we get started, I have to say you've disappointed me, Sir Growzaw. King Sigismund placed his trust in you, but you don't seem to be up to the task.
That's not true. I took a few tattered tents and turned them into a proper military camp. Everything here is as it should be.
Only your soldiers seem to die from time to time, eh?
There are always problems, but as you can see, I can deal with them. We caught Musa of Mali in the act. You just need to pronounce judgment.
Musa is innocent.
Christ, Henry, be quiet.
And who might you be?
That is Henry, sir. One of my best soldiers. He just doesn't know when to keep his mouth shut.
Let him speak, then. I'm sure he has something very important to tell us. Tell me, lad, why is Musa innocent, in your opinion?
Sir, I've got to know Musa a bit by now. And I can tell you that murder simply isn't in his character. He's a good man.
Thank you, my friend. But I do not think that that helps very much.
Musa of Mali will remain silent until I personally ask him a question. But he's right, lad. We're dealing with murder here. We don't have time for pretty speeches.
I understand that, sir. Believe me. I'm just telling you, Musa is not to blame.
But if it wasn't Musa, who did kill Chertan?
Chertan was killed by the camp commander, Growzaw of Boromlaka.
What?
You scum! How dare you!
Silence!
You aren't going to let this peasant insult me, are you, sir? You should cut him down to size.
That can wait. First, I want to know how he came up with this insolent claim. And start at the beginning. What happened that night by the powder store, by your reckoning?
Well, being in charge of the camp wasn't enough for Growzaw, most likely. He wanted to get rid of Chertan and take command of the Cuman forces.
What is this nonsense? What would I want with those heathens?
What's more, they'd never take orders from someone like you. I hope you know something, lad. Because if it turns out you're just wasting my time... What happened next? You carried Chertan to the infirmary? Isn't that right, Sir Musa?
Yes, sir. There, I gave him wine to drink, and I prepared to stitch his wounds, but he died before I could.
It seems someone poisoned the poor fella.
Growzaw went to the infirmary a little before me and Katz. He could easily have had time to poison the wine Musa gave to Chertan.
What say you, Sir Musa?
It cannot be ruled out.
Well, Sir Growzaw, what actually happened?
Why are you all still listening to that dung grubber? Where would I get hold of poison?
You brewed it up yourself. I found lots of valerian in your tent, which is used to make dollmaker potion. And that's exactly what was used to kill Chertan, sir.
That's enough. You'll die, you liar.
Silence! I've heard more than enough. Sir Growzaw, you will come with me.
Me?
The king will not stand for wrongdoing among his nobles. That must be punished.
But I didn't do anything.
Don't make this harder than it need be.
Keep away from me.
Calm now, sir. Calm down.
Shut up, you worm. It's all your fault anyway. I won't let you put this on me. You hear?
To hell with you!
Well, Sir Stibor, one...
What the hell's going on here?
I should be asking you that. The greenest Praga recruit, capable and keen. And he's a traitor.
That's none of your business.
And my business should be no concern of yours either. You've kept your nose out of it so far, so make sure it stays that way.
So far? What are you talking about?
About Chertan.
Was it you who did it?
An unfortunate accident. He got in my way when I wanted to blow up the powder store.
So that bang a short while ago. But why?
Look, normally I'd be happy to chat with you till Judgment Day, but I get the feeling we should both make ourselves scarce. And on the double. Don't you reckon? So thanks for the help, pal.